Hello, don't go anywhere. This is the wrong place, but it might turn out to be the right one. You're here with Joe, and
Akash, and you're listening to the We've Got
we've got
Nothing
nothing
Left.
left podcast. Oh, I thought
I,
we were saying that
I thought I was going to say it.
together. Oh, all right. Let's just go. Get into
Let's
it.
just go. Oh, I think we are live.
Hello,
How are
you're
you
in.
doing?
Not bad. It's
Long
been
t
a while, isn't it?
It has been a while.
I can't even remember the last time we did it. But
I can
just to
remember the
let
last time we tried to do it.
yes, just to let everyone know why that Deadpool and Wolverine review disappeared from our Instagram page.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
we tried recording it, and I think like halfway through, my computer just had a meltdown, and I gave up on it. My
Honestly,
microphone wouldn't work. It was a nightmare.
you really they didn't miss out on anything. We were just like
No,
really chatting shit.
yeah,
And
yeah. And
there
halfway
was
through, I was miming to Akash because I couldn't hear him or say anything to him. So I was like, just carry on, carry on. But
audio
no,
description. This podcast doesn't have any video, unfortunately,
yeah.
so you missed out on that.
So
But
I'm just hoping this, works all right. But
yeah,
you can
it was a
hear
mission.
us.
It was a mission to get here. I
It
just cooked
was.
some
It
spaghetti
was.
bolognese, and I'm saying to Joe, could we just push back half an hour later? And he's like, I need to go, mate. And I was like, right, let me throw that into the microwave, and
We
I
are
ran straight up the stairs.
determined to get this one out
Yeah,
to the public
I
because
was.
if you want to introduce it,
Oh yeah, I mean I haven't come up with a working title, but it's
no.
Doctor Who Gen 3 as character options we're calling
Yes.
it. We're now
Yes.
we're Doctor Who is now Skins. Some people are calling the
Yeah.
revived. It's not even the revived series. It's the
No.
re-revived series with Ncuti
It
Gatwa
makes
and Melly
no
Gibson.
sense.
It's Disney Doctor Who, as some
Mm,
people call it.
yeah. Yeah.
Doctor Who. And we've been talking about this for a while. We've wanted to make a pod on it for a while, and
Yeah.
even though we
Yeah.
haven't recorded, we've been talking about it like every week. Like,
Yeah, I mean, well, we did one. We did one obviously on the 60th
yeah,
specials. Um, which was probably not as long as it should have been because, but not everything had been said by other people so many
and
times.
all of our theories are wrong. So,
Well,
fine.
Stooky
I
Bill,
know,
just putting it out there.
Sneaky Bell. Yeah,
Just
yeah,
putting it
yeah.
out there. But
Well,
season one, I feel, is a
Series
different
16.
series 16, sorry,
Is it 16,
is
15? I don't know.
15.
Yeah, 15,
Wait, what was last? Series 13, so it's 14.
14. Okay, yeah. Series
Yeah,
14.
that's weird. Yeah.
Season one, we've got rid of that. We're
Yeah.
blabbering.
Yeah. So I feel like it was a whole different beast
Yeah,
to the 60th, and I'm including because I think we also did the Church on Ruby Road. I think
you may have. I don't listen to our podcast,
we're
so
old. We don't remember things. Let
but
me have a quick look. Go on. If you speak, and I'll look.
if I speak, well, yeah, like Joe said, it was a whole new beast. This new season, I was really excited for it, coming on the back of the 60th, and I think after watching The Church on the Ruby Road, whilst it wasn't the most
Yes,
sort
we
of.
did. Did
Oh, we did.
yeah,
Well,
we
you
did.
can listen to that on our thoughts of
Yeah,
it. So
yeah,
post church, post church on the Ruby Road. I think we were all a bit deflated with the ending, but we really liked Shooty's sort of
yeah,
portrayal as the 15th, and
yeah.
maybe had a good backstory, and it seemed like the characters were really fleshed out. So it really like season one picks up right after that
Yep.
Christmas special, and you're
And then it
thrown right into
deflates
it.
you like a fucking lead balloon.
But are you talking about Space Babies as the
All
first
of it.
episode or the entire? Okay. Well, it's an interesting bit. I mean, you've probably seen like on like listeners have probably like heard about like Doctor Who's like sort of
Yeah,
controversial sort of like storylines and
yeah.
obviously like there's pros and cons with everything. But I wanted to like point back out with the fact that with this whole season, I actually watched it with my girlfriend, and she'd never seen Doctor Who before. So it was a really
Mm.
interesting thing to do because I was obviously really excited to watch it, I was watching Space Babies and I was feeling a little bit like, I actually am not a 5-year-old, so I'm not enjoying it as much as they potentially would. However, I say that, she was loving it. And
Yeah,
there's that line 15 says where he says, this is why I do it, this is why I travel, because I travel with someone to see the universe through their eyes. And I
yeah,
kind of got that through her, and I feel like it made me look at the series in a different way. And it's not without its cons, but I think there was a lot of pros. I mean, it's obvious the Disney money's there. I think the special effects are really good. I like the time vortex. I like the different changes in the TARDIS color. Shooty's different costumes, which I wasn't on board with initially, but I think it's a good
mm,
distinction for his Doctor.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, overall, I mean, I think the general consensus was they were really good sort of standalone episodes. They cemented uh Shooty's personality as the 15th. They didn't make his sexuality feel forced at all. I think there was a really good balance with that. And I think really the penultimate episode had me so hyped. The only downfall I really have is the fact that Ruby's mother was literally just what was a 15-year-old
A
from
normal woman
Liverpool
who
who went
pointed
in a gown.
dramatically wearing a
A
Sith
gown.
cloak.
Yeah, which and
Fucking
even that wasn't even in the Christmas special, so
she pointed at the sign. Fuck off. Right, here's my problem. Right, right.
here he goes.
Look, there. I thought there were some very good episodes. Right,
Yeah.
The Devil's Called up until fucking. There's always a twist at the end. Was
Hmm.
good. I enjoyed it. I thought Jinx Monsoon was excellent
Mm.
as Maestro and a villain that I would like to see return.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I'm going to go through them all and just give quick thoughts on them.
Yeah,
So,
go
Space Babies, shit.
on.
I watched it and I just thought at the start I was like, oh yeah, this is good, this is good. Shooty's running around the TARDIS explaining who he is, quick to
Yeah.
Millie and
Exposition.
Ruby. Yeah, which we never got in how many years? 5 years of Jodie Whittaker, which
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
He gets it out of the way in the first 10 seconds. Um, and also just to be out there, 8 episodes is a fucking detriment as well. Well, I'm sure we'll get to
Yeah.
that. But then it just turned into an episode of the Sarah Jane Adventures for me. I was just kind of
Yeah, it was
feeling
a
like,
weird series opener.
yeah. It felt like New Earth, but shit. Um,
Just a weird CGI premise of
yeah,
having loads of
I just
babies. They
felt
were
like
cute, but I don't know.
like Russell T Davies, as much as we love him, has this thing nowadays, and I felt like he wouldn't have had it when Doctor Who was first sort of, the revival was first coming to fruition. He has this thing now where he's like, "Oh, it's marvelous! It's so cheeky and wonderful and marvelous, and let's make everything ridiculous." And it's like, no, like bring it back a little bit. Like he would have that in, say, a good example is series 3 with Martha,
Hmm.
where you would have these silly adventures, with the Jadoon and like quite camp adventures. Then you'd have fucking Human Nature and the Family of Blood, which were like epics and Utopia and the Sound of Drums and
It's the drama. You were missing out
yeah,
on the drama. It was too
yeah.
comedic for
The
you.
mix just wasn't there. So Devil's Called, I've already said my stuff. It was good, whatever. Apart from when the Beatles suddenly saw magic flying uh, keys in the air and saved the day.
Yeah.
Um, Boom. Now, Boom was good, but it had one quite glaring problem for me.
What?
And that's the way that Shooty Gatwa, the man himself, pronounces Villengard.
How's he
It's
pronounce
the
it?
yards of Villengard. Not Villengard. It's Villengard,
Oh,
Shooty.
come on. You can't
Even
give
the
it's
fucking
not wrong
ambulance
syntax.
says
It,
Villengard.
it
No,
spices it up a little
no,
bit. The
I'm
planet was
joking.
there before.
It
I think that
was
was a fantastic episode,
it
which
was
had the
very good.
drama.
And surprise uh appearance by Rada
Florada.
Sethu. So, or Sethu, is
Yes.
it Sethu or
I
Sethu?
think it may be CP. She'll
Sethu.
probably tell us. She's
Yeah,
listening
she
to this.
listens.
Let us
She's
know,
an
Florida.
avid listener.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so
Um,
perhaps a relation to who people are
I,
calling Belinda,
yeah,
her
that's my
companion.
aunt's name.
Oh, there we go.
So very authentic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. He has a trope, Russell T Davies, of having sort of companions as different characters. Like if you go back to Doomsday, um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Martha Freeman
A
Agyeman is
cousin,
playing a cousin, and it's a really good way of recycling an
Gwen
actor but
Cooper.
making it fit. Yeah, making it fit the sort of
Yeah,
storyline. I love
yeah,
that. That's the grown
yeah,
organism of Doctor Who. So I'm glad to
yeah,
see that back.
yeah, yeah.
So,
There's definitely, I mean, Boom was very Moffat episode.
oh yeah, you could definitely see hints of Capaldi in there. I don't think he's
Yeah.
actually. It's to do with the writing. I don't think Shooty's like making an impersonation or anything. And he has a
No, no,
Scottish
no.
accent as well. But I
Yeah,
really liked it because it makes you feel like it's one character that you're watching
yeah,
over a period of
yeah.
years. With his own
What's,
twist.
what's episode 4?
I've got trying to Google it like frantically.
73
73
yards.
yards. I thought that was
Now,
fantastic for
yeah,
what it was.
I did until I started to think about it. And then
Uh-oh.
I was just kind of like, but none of, I understand, right? That none of it is really supposed to make too much sense because it's Ruby's, sense of abandonment and
Yeah,
people
mixed with
abandoning her.
a Welsh folk
Yeah,
horror
that's
sort of lore.
interesting.
Like,
That's very
yeah, yeah,
interesting. But when I think about it, and I know people probably whatever, but at the end of the day, right, it is a kids show. And if I was 8 years old watching that, when, for instance, when I would have been watching Midnight
Midnight.
and
Yeah,
Journey's End and
Blink.
things like that,
Yeah,
Blink, yeah, I wouldn't have got it. I would have been very confused. The woman wouldn't have scared me. It wouldn't have been
yeah.
anything like that. And Russell T Davies, to call it the best thing he's ever written, I completely disagree with that.
It's
I mean,
sort of
it's
like
really,
it emulates what these sort of like writers do to sort of get viewership. You know how like James Gunn was saying Flash was the best superhero movie
which
before
it was.
of all time, which you can listen
Yeah,
to our podcast on.
yeah,
But I don't know if he was trying to say that to compensate it being an episode which the Doctor wasn't in because obviously Shooty was
sex
filming
education. Yeah,
Sex Education at the time. However, I feel like it's one of those ones where it's open to interpretation on the first watch, which I do like. You know, like not everything has to be spelled out in
yeah,
black and white.
yeah,
And it was the idea of, like the chicken and the egg, and Ruby turns old, and then she's sort of pursuing her younger self to, I don't know, do this cycle. It could have been maybe
yeah.
etched in a bit more in the exposition, but at the same time, like you don't want to be spoon-fed everything.
No,
Um,
no,
but
no.
maybe if it had some later sort of explanation down the line,
Impact.
that would have helped
Yeah,
because they did reference it in the last episode, but it seemed a bit like why? Like
like quick. Yeah, like
yeah,
we didn't even need to say that. And if Millie
yeah,
Gibson looks that good at
40,
50 years
25?
old, 40
Yeah,
years
yeah,
old,
yeah, yeah.
good on her. Because fucking hell.
Yeah, yeah, honestly, she's,
How
she's
do we
got
make
range.
Millie Gibson look old? Just give her a bit of a longer wig.
Yeah, yeah, a bit of an insult,
That's
but
it. But
fantastic
that
performance.
things like that, yeah, she was brilliant in it.
She carried the
And
episode.
it was probably my second favorite episode of the
Yeah,
series.
which
It
brings us on to
Seizes.
yeah.
I was
I
gonna say
think it brings
season
us
and
on.
series, but go on,
It
sorry.
brings us on to the next sort of episode without the Doctor, which was probably the worst I've ever seen.
Was that
Uh,
after 73 yards?
yeah, imagine
Two in a
two, three.
row.
It's a bit stupid because I bet the viewership fell off by casual fans. Like, where's the
Yeah,
Doctor?
well, the
I mean,
viewership, that's
yeah, that's another story. I mean, we'll try and like summarize the next thing quite quickly, but I feel like Dot and Bubble is just like you could skip it easily. It's
oh
kind of
yeah.
funny. My girlfriend was watching all those episodes. She fell asleep during Dot and Bubble. Bear in mind,
I
I
almost
was
did.
I was I was up from 6 a.m. I went to drama school that Saturday and I stayed awake to bloody watch it. And the
Yeah.
only thing that's worth mentioning in that
His shoot is performance
episode is
at the
Shoot's
end.
performance.
Yeah.
His first going as the 15th Doctor. It was such a raw, visceral performance. And I'll
Hmm.
tell you what, it did sort of mirror society today with their perception on people who are minorities, especially
Yeah.
like from the
Yeah.
black community, and
Yeah.
I think
People of color. Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
it was done perfectly there. So the thing is, what I'll say is my mum was actually watching this series. I feel like the
Yeah.
great thing about this re-revival was that it piqued everyone's interest. After Dot and Bubble, she stopped watching it. She stopped watching it. I had to force her to watch Rogue, which we'll get onto, but she still was a bit sort of like not that interested. And she
Yeah.
missed out on the next couple of episodes, which are what drew everyone in, what was the
Yeah.
big payoff.
I,
So I
I
think it was a bad mistake from them to do Dot and
I
Bubble in that
remember
way.
um speaking to you guys afterwards about it, and I was just like, oh, boring. Just didn't like it.
Yeah, because
And
I
it's
know
like, oh yeah, they said that the
Joan Ben from Twin Dilemma we're talking about.
yeah. They
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that the performance at the end saved it, but I completely disagree. I understand that it's a great performance, but a shit episode can't be saved by a few lines
yeah.
of dialogue, I'm afraid.
As opposed to like Millie Gibson carrying an episode throughout.
Yeah,
Realistically, it, it was trying to like be another sort of like Blink type situation,
yeah, it
but
doesn't work. With
it just
slugs. I mean, just quickly, do you know what those slugs are called?
no.
They have a name.
Do they?
Yeah,
I
man
remember
traps.
Man Trap, brilliant.
That isn't even
Creative.
fucking. It's not said in the episode. It's not said
It
once.
it'll be on the Dot 2 attack cards, which will never be released because
Uh
the BBC and Disney don't put any money into
no,
merchandise.
they don't care.
Hence why we only have only two bloody figures
Two
coming out
figures,
tomorrow. 40 quid of
40
the
quid for two
Doctor
figures
and Millie Gibson with an iPhone accessory.
infuriates me. I
I know.
remember going to Tesco and getting the Cybermen figures, the werewolf figure, for like £8 each.
The adverts. If the Argos catalogue still existed, Doctor Who's page would be non-existent.
Help the Doctor and Donna save the youth from slavery. That was
The
literally
youth's
one of the
circle
adverts.
must be broken.
The fucking save them from slavery.
Deary
I remember
me.
seeing that like in between Cartoon Network.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
We
that's
don't
the
have
thing.
that. This doesn't happen anymore.
I
It
had a
doesn't
Dot 2
happen.
pencil case. Nobody
So did
has that
I.
anymore.
I had a cyber leader lunchbox and his brain lit up, which never
I
happened in the episode, but
I still have one of those Doctor Who sort of consoles that emulated a DS with like a little
yes.
like eight
Yeah.
by eight like video game
Yeah.
like that. That's still cool. It still
Yeah.
works.
I remember having
Anyway, like,
Doctor Who top trumps on DS,
oh mate, I
which
still have
is yeah,
those.
I just loved merchandise back in the day. But
You know,
anyway,
cut this episode out. Let's just talk about old Doctor Who.
yeah.
Never
I think that could
mind.
be Doctor Who merchandise could be an episode on itself. Just saying.
Oh yeah, well
I
maybe
think
if
it
they
should
want
be
it.
actually. Could
Yeah, it
be.
should be.
Um,
So
but go on,
Rogue,
Rogue. Yes.
yeah. How did you feel with Rogue?
I mean, it was. Do you know what? I thought the villains were very classic, like RTD Doctor. Do you know what?
Like Slovene type of
Yeah.
colourful,
Going
over the
back
top.
to, I thought it was cringe for them to use. I hate to use the word cringe. I think the word cringe is fucking cringe in itself, but it was cringy for them to use the word cosplay. I thought they should have used something else. Like,
It
I
was
get it. They were, they had to relate it to a real life. I get it, but
mm.
I always sort of try to. Sorry, go on.
I was in no because it builds on your point about cosplay because in that
Mm.
episode also they were playing like Bad Guy by Billie Eilish on the harp,
Yeah, that was
and
very
it's
good.
one of
Like
those.
Bridgerton does.
Yeah, and it's meta, but I wanted to say it before I forget, and I know that Twin Dilemma were talking about it with About Time podcast, and it references when Shooty was like in The Devil's Chord, and he was saying that he could almost hear the soundtrack music of the TV show within the show. He could hear the Doctor Who soundtrack. He was like, that was like
What is
non-diegetic,
it? Non-diegetic.
and
Yeah.
and if they're playing what the bad guy theme, they're talking about cosplay. It's it. I think this is sort of little sort of subtle nuggets which will maybe have a payoff down the line where there's
Maybe.
this
Yeah.
idea that the Doctor has been trapped either in a version of a TV show which is called Doctor Who, and
That'd be cool.
it can somehow tie in us as audience
Yeah.
viewers and make us feel like we're in the show. That would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
That
It's
would be
sort
really
of
good.
it links to Nine being in Big Brother. We saw the Doctor
Yeah,
trapped in an episode of classic Doctor Who or something, like how in Mr.
yeah.
Robot he's in an old TV show, isn't he? When
I
he's having like a,
just
a trip.
I just don't think he's gonna do that. I think he's just so stuck on this idea of gods and all this shit,
Pantheon of Discord,
which
I'll have you
is a
know.
fine idea if they were aliens,
Yeah.
which I guess they are. I guess they are, but they're not. Like they
Can
have
you
like
remember?
mythical powers.
Because the Pantheon of Discord was actually mentioned in the Sarah Jane Adventures, and everyone thought that
Yes,
the bloody trickster was going to show up at
I
the
thought it
end.
was. I was
I would have,
absolutely
I would
convinced.
have been down for that. I don't
I
care
would have
what
been so
anyone
happy about
says,
that.
saying, "Oh my God, it's a Sarah Jane villain." His face is
He
bloody
should have been the
terrifying.
Doctor Who. He should have been in Doctor Who at some point.
Yeah,
Should have
and
been.
they mention him. They do mention him in the last episode, so
And
I'll take that.
and people might call me crazy, but the tune that Ruby Sunday was humming or singing or whatever in Devil's Called when she's being like hung up by
Oh
Maestro.
yeah,
She's
and it's
humming the
snowing.
Trickster's theme.
Yeah,
She hums it. It's
W-
exactly the same.
and whilst it's snowing, and it sort of links to this last finale where you're thinking
Where it means
Ruby, it's they've
nothing.
been building up to Ruby being this figure of immense power. She can make it snow whenever she thinks about her mum who abandoned her. There's a hidden song within her soul, and going into the Legend of Ruby Sunday, we were all really hyped, and I think that episode did really well to sort of capitalize on that hype. You get that
Yeah, I
fantastic
was
start.
loving that episode.
I know. As soon as it opens with the TARDIS like flying in the sky, I always love
Just
those.
quickly though, just quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Rogue was okay. That was
Yeah, it gets a pass.
like, it was nice to see, a bit of romance for Shooty.
Oh yeah,
And a bit of tension. And what I was going to say as well with villains, I sound silly, but I like to base like how much I see them as a Doctor Who villain is how much I can see them as an action figure.
yeah,
Like how much I would. Do you get what I mean? Like
yeah. I do get what you mean.
these
It's the
villains, I would
playability,
see, yeah, like swappable
and
arms and head, and
it's exciting for
um,
kids. It's creative.
yeah, yeah. The space babies, the boogeyman, I could see it as an action
Oh
figure.
yeah,
Maestro, I could. Boom, an ambulance. No,
we're getting a little disc as the toy.
we're getting a little disc, yeah. But yeah, anyway, Rogue was okay. It was
Yeah,
it
and
was
it,
fun.
it
It was fun.
exactly it mirrored the sort of Madame de Pompadour days of the Tenth
Yeah,
Doctor, and
it
I
felt
think it,
like a if you just plopped David Tennant into that episode with Rose, it would have worked,
yeah, and
which I
it's like
liked.
they got the writers from the Loki Disney Plus TV show to write it because Russell T Davies had problems with
Yeah,
Loki's
yeah,
sort of bisexuality in that show. And
yeah,
what I meant earlier with like exploring the Doctor's sexuality, which many people were a bit like, oh, why are they doing that? He's an
yeah.
alien, he's not there.
Even
And
though
he
he's
was in a
been
relationship with
sexually
Rose.
active with
Yeah, exactly.
Rose. Well, not sexually active, but you know what I mean.
Well, my
Well, we don't know.
housemate at
With
uni used to think
Rose, River
that.
Song,
Yeah,
Astrid Peth, if he fucking got the chance.
exactly. Ten
You
was a
know,
womanizer, and so
just because
15.
he might have a little bit of gay in him,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
just don't like it. But anyway, um,
The
uh,
legend, the
the
legend of
Legend of
Ruby
Ruby Sunday.
Sunday.
Now, I just want to say something and get it out of my system before I forget because it's in my head at the moment. So there's been this problem over the last, well, since really, I'd say Russell's like last with Donna from series
Yeah,
4 onwards.
four. Yeah,
Every companion, apart from Yaz, Ryan, and Graham, but we don't talk about them, and Dan, Evil Dan. Um, what's the point of living? Um,
what's the point of
they've
living?
they've all been. I'm gonna have that. They've all been special. They've all been the Impossible Girl, the Girl Who Waited, Doctor
Yeah,
Donna, all of this stuff, right? The Last Centurion, all of this, and the the issue with Ruby Sunday is that it's the reverse of that. So
oh,
before we were given this normal girl, this normal guy who you get nuggets of who they are and oh, they're special and there's going to be a big reveal to who they are and what they mean, blah blah blah. With Ruby Sunday, this might just sound like absolute madness, but I'm just sort of,
No, I get you.
you know,
I get you.
with
Yeah.
Ruby Sunday from the beginning, we knew she was special. We knew
Yeah.
it like that. She can make it fucking snow. She's got a song. She was born on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, and all this stuff for it to be nothing, for there
Hmm.
to be no reveal. So what he was doing was building it up, building it up, building it up, building it up, building it up to nothing. And I understand that it was such a, you know, such an emotional, heartbreaking scene. My mum cried at it, right?
Yeah.
Like, but my mum cries at old men on adverts who are asking for money. So that's not much. But it's like it felt like it was like keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back, and you're gonna find out oh, that it's nothing. And
Yeah,
it's like oh okay
I get what you're saying because I feel like it was tackling a really interesting subject with adoption. I don't think we really got that in the companion for either
we
a while,
haven't we haven't
and it mirrors sort of 15's new journey as the Timeless Child. I feel like were a really good pair exploring the sort of tropes of
yeah
adoption together. I feel like what the issue was that if you're going to do a misdirection like that, where you're taking the law of the fact that the Doctor can't resist a trap, like he couldn't with Amy Pond, he couldn't resist
yeah
the sort of the crack in the wall and that sort of stuff. Why she couldn't remember the Daleks, all that sort of idea. You take that with Ruby, you emulate that, and you mirror that. Fair enough. I feel like the misdirection is good on one part because it's different from what we've seen before, but with a misdirection, I feel like you need something else to fill the gap, and there was nothing to fill the gap in the
no
finale. It really was underwhelming to the point where you didn't get the payoff that you did with Martha, for example,
no
leaving the TARDIS. It's not like she died or anything, but she went through a massive personal journey, and she was having this sort of subtext theme of like liking the Doctor and him not liking her back. That was payoff.
Mhm.
It was similar to just sort of Ryan and Graham. You can't really compare them, but like them just leaving the TARDIS, and it was just like, okay,
yeah
it had no impact on a bigger story unless it is
no
somehow retconned down the line
I
because
don't
she is
yeah
coming back. I
she
just
is I
feel
don't
like
think
we
it will
can't look
be
we can't look down the line as it's sort of explained in the recent news with Doctor Who. You can't look
well
down. That's why it's
yeah we'll
having
get back
issues
to that
because
yeah
you have to focus on the season at hand. And I feel like
yeah he's playing the
I
Marvel game
yeah, and you could argue that the person that filled the gap was Sutek, obviously coming on to Empire of Death
uh.
and the end of the Legend of Ruby Sunday. It was interesting because we all had the idea of the fact that Susan could be coming back and S
Well that was
Triads and Anagram
dropped
TARDIS.
completely
Yeah, well, she came
and
to the
then
premiere.
to be fair uh, that was one theory I suddenly thought oh Susan Triad like what could that mean triad pyramids and people and then I saw Susan technology and I thought
Yeah.
Sue Tech
Yeah.
and I was like oh but then when I was watching Legend of Ruby Sunday all throughout I was like it felt like that when you're a kid and it was my favorite episode of the series by the way and
Mm.
when you're a kid it like watching I don't know I'm trying to think of a good example Stolen Earth
It's
or
always the penultimate one where it goes to be
yes
continued. When the
yes
Doctor, I think Stolen Earth is a great example of the Doctor regenerating a
yeah
cliffhanger.
and it's
We've
like
not had
oh
that in a long
shit
time.
like,
It's
everyone's
like,
dying the
yeah,
sands of
yeah,
death
yeah.
all of this
How's he gonna get himself out of it?
but with Sutek the let's be honest right everyone oh my god I want Sutek to come back he's like on the level of how Omega however you want to say it was where it's like a classic villain to return Sutek was
Hmm.
like oh my god this would be amazing
Well,
they
yeah,
brought
for
him
classic
back
Who fans, because
as
not
I
the modern
think
ones we've known.
no
The
but
classics, yeah.
yeah but I think they made a mistake in their CGI though because I think somehow they got into the live action Scooby Doo movie and took one of the monsters from that.
It was an interesting sort of revisualization of Sutek
Like, was
because
he
he
a
just turned into a massive dog, which he wasn't in the classics, was he?
he
Well, he
he
kind of was.
he was when he took the
Like,
helmet off. But like
Yeah.
the idea that he's been latched onto the TARDIS ever since then.
Oh God, that was awful. The memes of Sutek, the fact that he was in the room 3 times during the end of the Day of the Doctor. I
He's
can't
been
watch
blown
certain
up. He's
episodes
been
properly.
melted.
It's
He's
when it's
been
when Jack jumps onto the TARDIS and Sutek's just hanging on at the same time. The
honestly.
the thing is that there was an opportunity to have done it when Donna put the coffee in the TARDIS, maybe, because after
Yes.
that is when we notice the sort of TARDIS groaning and stuff. Maybe at the end of the universe when they were at, he somehow went through
Yes.
a rift. Don't do it the entire
Ever
time because
since since
it
the
breaks with
fourth Doctor.
continuity.
Since the
You're
fourth
telling me
fucking
that
Doctor.
the Daleks threw the TARDIS into their Z neutrino core in stolen no Journey's End to destroy the TARDIS, and Sutek's just like, well, I guess I'll just die.
And
I won't do anything.
I'm sorry, right? They I like even talking about it now, I thought about it and spoke to you so much about it already.
Joe's tearing up right now. He's
And
crying.
talking about it aloud actually hurts me. It hurts my head. Like
Yeah,
he they put a bungee cord onto his
a dog
dog
leash.
collar and pulled him through the time vortex, right? He's hanging on like loosely to the TARDIS, right? The
Hmm.
the amount of times the TARDIS has belted through that vortex, hitting the sides, sparking off the sides,
Watch
he would have
Eleven's
been
bloody series opener, the
fucked.
lightning and stuff.
What
It's
happened? We don't even know fully what happened during the Time War. He would have been fucked up.
yeah. I just feel like you decided to kill Sutek the same way the Fourth Doctor did by banishing him to the Time Vortex. Surely that's going to create the same
Yeah,
problem down the line. It
yeah,
was an interesting visual for sure. I did love it, but at the same time, it felt really sort of like lackluster as
yeah,
a sort of a way to get rid of him. And
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It had its
Really,
pros and its cons, but it
it felt like Russell had Infinity War on in the background as he was writing Empire of Death at the start, where
what
everyone
with the
got dusted.
dust. It's
Yeah,
such a trope. Rise of Skywalker and Palpatine goes to dust.
like
Voldemort turns into dust. Everyone turns into dust.
honestly, mainly probably because it's like a non-gory way for someone to die, and it's just easier to like.
Probably,
But
probably.
also, killing off your entire cast is not suspense.
Yeah, you know they're gonna come back.
You know they're going to go. Literally, everyone. I was sitting there with my cousins, my aunt. I think no, my sister wasn't there. It's my cousins, my aunt, Jake, and my mum. Right, and we were watching it, and when they all died, Kate was going, I was going to say Martha. Kate was going, oh, Doctor, blah, 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 whatever she said. We all just
I thought
turned
that
to
was a
each
good
other and were
performance,
like,
to be
oh, they're coming back.
fair. Yeah, I mean, it was great acting from them.
Oh yeah,
You
but
got Lenny with a bloody machine gun, even though the Doctor doesn't have a Sonic that looks like a Sonic
I
because he's
thought
not
Lenny was
those
great though.
weapons.
By the way,
Oh, he was
he was
like,
great.
props to him. He's one of the
Yeah.
best actors in the bloody episode. For example, Rose, why the hell was she there?
Why was
I
she
feel like,
there? And why is she essential staff? I'm
isn't
getting
she?
angry.
I thought she was 13 years old, and like, when would she be born? If Doctor Who takes place in 2024, and Donna left the TARDIS in 2008, she can't be more than what, 14? My maths
The
might be
amount of
wrong.
times that the year has been reset in Doctor Who,
Oh, I
because all
hate that
of
though.
Tennant's years, like it, because when I think Martha is like 2007,
Yeah.
2009, and then because like they went 1 year ahead by accident with Rose.
Oh, did they? Yeah, yeah, they went 1 year ahead, and then
Yeah,
also I mean, with Matt Smith being 2 years late after 11th Hour, was that the 11th Hour happened in
exactly.
2008 or
Yeah,
2010? So they don't really mention the year anymore,
no,
which
it's like Marvel nowadays.
yeah, I don't like that. It needs to be grounded. It needs
It
to feel like
does.
it is today. It
Yeah.
is now. It is
And also,
2024. It is
sorry,
set.
sorry, I know I'm going off a fucking rant here, right? But that is another thing in Devil's Called when he goes, oh, when he bear in mind this is the second episode. I think the episode order was out of order, but
Mm.
he goes, so sorry, Space Babies basically technically takes place on Christmas Day or Christmas like
How so?
because
Oh
it's
yeah, I get you. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And then in Devil's Call, he goes, "Oh, when are you? Like June 2024?" I was like, "What?
You've been traveling for six
You've been
months with the
traveling
doctor,
for
or
six
like,
months and we haven't seen
yeah,
any of it." So I feel
nah.
like, and they have, and in Boom, it's her first alien planet. What? What? No. Come on, Russell. If you're listening,
Joe is
Devil's
not
Call
going to
should have
be
been like,
invited on the Doctor Who official
oh, I don't
podcast.
give a shit.
Those
Poor
days are
Crystal
gone.
D. Crystal D was fucking devastated about that.
Oh no,
Crystal,
they're
if you're
gonna
listening,
doubt you,
I'm
man.
sorry. I'm
You
sorry.
come
And
on
I'm
our
sorry for all
podcast,
those times
Crystal.
yeah, sorry for all those times I harassed you at the Comic Con asking for a photo. Sorry. I'm sorry. But I remember watching the Doctor Who show after every episode of Peter Capaldi's,
Yeah,
loving that
exactly.
shit. The hair quit, the hair tournaments and everything. But but anyway,
We have Unleashed now. What is the current state of Doctor Who now? Season one, you've got a season filmed. Season two's been filmed
yeah,
already, and the
Christmas special.
idea, Christmas special, and we had this idea by RTD that because they were like a year in advance, we could film Doctor Who a year in advance and have sort of back-to-back seasons like the old
Mm-hmm.
days, where
Yeah.
Doctor Who would come out every year. Um, but one of the Doctor Who sort of insiders at the Mirror has just published an article following Ncuti Gatwa's appearance on Graham Norton, where it was revealed that the BBC cut out Ncuti talking about season three being confirmed
Yeah.
on Graham
Starting
Norton.
to film next year, he said. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And there was a lot of speculation about the sort of renewal because with a lot of modern TV shows, you have the renewal after the sort of preceding season comes out.
Yeah.
See what the sort of taste is. Doctor Who being this sort of British institution with the BBC, they kind of only really ever probably had that when the series was starting to decline. But
Yeah.
you had never had the idea. It was always hush hush. It was never revealed that Doctor Who's been renewed for
No,
series
and when we were a
13.
kid, you would just, oh, the new season of Doctor Who, because, or series, because a trailer would pop up. We were never
Yeah,
really, involved in looking into that stuff.
but the current state now is that Doctor Who might not come. Series three may not come until 2027.
Or
And
at all.
yes, well, according you've had this theory for a long time about Doctor Who being in the realm of cancellation.
Yeah. Look, I mean, like you said, Russell had this sort of almost a promise to the fans that which I don't really I'm not too fast. That you'll have Doctor Who every year, this, that. It won't be
Doctor Who's
like,
back. It's back for
yeah,
good.
it's back for good, it's back on the scene, it's back at its best. And yet after the next series two, um, which I'm guessing will be May of next year, we are not looking at another series until 2027.
Mm,
And by the looks of it, possibly not with Shooty full stop.
yeah.
So um, it's not looking fantastic. And I'm sad to say, I don't really care.
Really?
Yeah,
Have you outgrown Doctor Who? Have you
I've not
outgrown this?
outgrown it, but this is how much I didn't really care for the most recent series.
If it's not serving you, I get it,
It,
It's escapism. If it's
yeah,
not giving you escapism and joy
yeah.
overall, then why bleed
There's
money into something
two
that is
things.
sinking?
There's two things.
Hmm.
First thing, I say I've forgotten the first thing, so I'll move on to the second thing. I didn't buy the sonic screwdriver.
Oh my God, how could you not? How
It
could you
is,
not buy
Akash has it
this?
right in front of us.
This this
This,
joyous
wow. Do you know what? It,
device.
it looks kind of cool, right? But I have bought every Sonic screwdriver when it first come out for every Doctor
Even
since the
even
revival, right?
Jodie, you bought
Even
six.
Jodie. But what the problem is with that, back to merchandise, even Jodie's Sonic, the series of mystery and complete
Yeah.
secrecy had the Sonic out. I looked at Amazon, it popped up on Amazon today. I bought it in August of 2018, and the
Hmm.
series come out in October 2018. So it's like even the 60th Sonic had it released in July of last year.
It released before the episodes
Yeah,
were aired, and you had this idea that they
yeah.
cared about
I mean, can you
the
believe that the
franchise.
60th was almost a year ago?
Yeah, that's mad.
That's
Mm.
mad. I'm trying to think of what the first thing was.
I mean, going on to that point of you not buying a Sonic, it is sort of like
Yeah,
your inner child isn't being nurtured, and it's
yeah,
sort
but
of like,
like, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it, and people are gonna if people are big fans of what I'm about to disagree with, they're probably gonna hate me. But when I was watching Shooty and Millie on screen, I felt like I was watching two companions.
mm,
I didn't get the feeling that Shooty is the Doctor, and that's purely based on the fact. Sometimes I did. Boom, I
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Boom, I did. Um, but there's just he's not missing anything. It's not him. It's the writing he's been given, and I just feel like most of the Doctors had those quirks. They had those little, like I don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah,
Shooty's just always like got that flair, and he's got that sort of like I know how like
swagger.
yeah, like
I get
that's
it.
fine. David Tennant, for instance, had that swagger. Even fucking Peter Capaldi sometimes. But when it comes to like little scenarios where they like, I'm just thinking of Peter Capaldi where he gets kissed on the cheek and he like hangs there for a minute because now he won't really get that. Do you know what I mean? Like it just those little moments. He didn't have that.
I get what you're
Didn't
saying.
feel
I
like
mean,
it.
like the sort of devil's advocate idea is like Capaldi had some bad writing to begin with, you know,
Yeah.
but he understood that character to the point where he built
Yeah.
the incarnation. With Shooty, he
He's
is he
crying.
giving? Oh, he's crying too much. And the thing
Oh
is,
my god, the crying.
if an actor is crying, it robs the audience of
If they
crying. You're not.
cry every episode, I remember,
That's his catchphrase, bloody crying,
yeah,
essentially.
it
That's his
literally is.
charme.
And I remember, for instance, when the doctor cries in midnight, right? And you see that tear fall down, and you're like, oh shit. Like,
He's holding it
you
back for the
know,
most time,
yeah,
though.
yeah, which is the which makes that single tear or those
Mm.
tears in his eyes like, oh, okay, he's in a bad place. But Shooty cried in every episode. I don't think there was one episode he didn't.
As
I
if
think
you
he cried
just
in every
pick,
episode. I'm thinking
he
about it.
did, he did, and it's quality, not quantity. And I'm not saying that his acting isn't heartfelt, and
No, no,
he's
he's a
not
great
like.
actor, but like
I feel like
he was
it's
miscast. I know it sounds really harsh. I don't think he's cast correctly as the Doctor.
it's interesting because you hadn't seen Sex Education before, so you're
No,
not holding on to the idea that he's
no.
portraying Eric from Sex Education. You've
I
not really seen him in
yeah,
anything before,
I
unless you
purposefully
count
didn't
Barbie.
watch.
Like,
Yeah, well, I purposefully didn't watch Sex Education when he was announced, just so I
mm,
didn't have that preconcept. Because with all the Doctors, I never have that
idea
like,
that they were someone before because we were too
yes,
young, and
yes.
like, yeah, exactly.
The Doctor
So
needs to be a little bit of a not a nobody because, for instance, Pete Capaldi, he was
he's an
older.
Oscar winner.
He's yeah.
He has an Oscar.
Um, he
Yeah,
was Malcolm Tucker, things like that.
yeah,
But at the
yeah,
same
yeah.
time, Malcolm Tucker wasn't a worldwide like popular character.
No, exactly. And it begs the question of BBC and Disney casting someone that's going to get
Yeah,
views into their sort of soft reboot. From the idea of it, maybe that played a factor, but he was the last person to audition for it. And he really does have qualities that do make a doctor, but I don't think
Does.
we've seen all of them yet.
No.
And I can't say stuff that makes his incarnation sort of stand out.
No.
And I need to see him really with like
And
sounds weird, but like with more kids and stuff and like being like how he
yeah,
was with Poppy,
yeah,
that sort of quality that he he's washing his performance a lot with high energy and stuff, and I do get that his
yeah,
doctor does that to be defensive, but I don't know if we're being sort of like hypercritical because if he asks a kid who's been watching Shooty as his first doctor,
yeah. I'm sure
they
he'd
may
be
say different
great.
stuff.
Yeah, but then it
This is our opinion, yeah, I get it.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
it's comparable.
I
It, go on. Sorry.
I feel like he's at his place there. I don't think that he's not. I disagree when you say he's been miscast. I feel like maybe he's not been able to go to his full potential yet. He's only done one series of
Yeah, I guess miscast
series three. As well, I
is
mean
a
Doomsday, so it's hard to say.
yeah.
But yeah.
Miscast is probably a strong word. Maybe misused so far. He hasn't been used properly.
Well, he wasn't available for bloody like two
Yeah,
episodes. What's that
yeah,
scheduling about? Like,
I
don't.
know. And
It's like.
every so often I see something like Shoot Gatwa's been casted, and I'm like, oh dear, it's not good.
Hmm,
But I feel like the problem that we're gonna have with series two, series 15, whatever, is
hmm.
that they were basically filmed back to back, and they didn't have time to like even for fans to even have any like say on what they liked, what they didn't like, and
Yeah, so you're saying that the stuff
it's
that's
gonna
been
be the
carried
same
over,
shit.
and I feel like what he's lacking is an overall arc. They've sort of teased the timeless child being carried over and his adoption,
Yeah,
but he's not had the idea of the confession doll or
no, I mean we had
like
the
recovering from
TARDIS
the time
groan,
war.
but that was it. The TARDIS
Yeah,
groan and Ruby Sunday making it snow. That was it.
yeah.
And that's what I was saying earlier. 8 episodes is a detriment.
It's not enough to get a real extension of the character, and I feel like
Yeah,
he's been on TV for so long. How much can you do with him? I
yeah,
like the idea that they're talking about the genocide. Maybe we need to see a sign of that, and all we can do is wait and see how they develop his overall arc. Because if he is going to be only doing like 3 seasons, as most doctors do, he's sort of comparable to maybe I don't know. Eccleston only had one series, so you can sort of compare them both of
yeah,
them, on
yeah,
that lens. At least he was recovering from the time war and he did have his overall arc in one series. With Shooty, I can't say that yet. Don't think
yeah,
enough has happened to him personally. But you know what? This is, like you said, it is down to like writing and overall story arcs, and I feel like he's definitely got the potential to do it. I hope he does, He can he can save the show. They've had this soft reboot after bringing Tennant back in. He has new energy. He's brought in fans from different areas. He's unique in his sense of being the Doctor. I feel like he can do it.
yeah. I think I'll retract my statement that he was miscast, but
And then
misused.
yeah, yeah. I don't want you to
Misused.
say that you're done with Doctor Who, Otherwise we can't really do
No, do you know
podcasts or
what?
anything.
I
Like
I haven't got much left, to be honest, to say,
he's
but
got nothing left.
I've got a little bit left, and that is
Change the podcast if we've got a
yeah,
little
I've
bit
got a
left.
little bit left. Um, and that is that I don't want it to go. I don't. I don't want to go. But I want it to change, and I
Yeah,
want it to do better,
yeah.
and I want it to stop fucking including the Christmas special as an episode of the series. It's not. It's a
Mm,
special. I remember when we
mm.
had DVDs
Of the
for
specials,
the
not two of the
specials,
specials.
like
Yeah.
not series one, episode one, the Christmas special. It don't work like that. Sorry. Um, but anyway, I just want it to. No, I'm an old man now. I want it to
It's
go back to what it was
the
like
idea
before.
is like going back to the way it was before. We were just kids. I don't think we were looking at it critically. It
We
felt like
weren't,
it was smart writing, good storylines,
but even
everything
then, I
fit
can
in
go back to
perfectly.
that now, and like I feel like if my brain was wiped of all memory, and I went back of Doctor Who anyway, I don't want to have my brain wiped of all memory. Um, and if the Doctor hit me with those fucking fingers on my temples and made me
Yeah.
forget Doctor Who, I would probably see the like like Chris Eccleston up to the end of Tennant as very good, and even like Matt Smith. Like
I think Series 5 is really good. I've been rewatching it. It is
Series
really good.
five, I don't get the hype. I never have.
I
I
love
never
it.
have. Series
S-
four, oh my god, I'm a Series four
Mm,
apologist. I love it. I love
yeah.
it so much. But anyway, I want Shooty Gatwa to get some better writing, which I
Yeah.
it makes me almost feel sick to say that. The fact that the
From
writer is Russell T
RTD.
Davies, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and hopefully we will get that. I want some more grown up. Right, I don't
Drama.
want
This is what people,
spaceships.
community
Yes,
has been saying this. It needs real drama in there.
I don't want
Um,
spaceships to fart and for
yeah.
for the
Like it's
only
like it's comparable to the cameos in Marvel films, the sort of theme
yeah
park-esque type of
yeah
television. We
he
don't want that.
he's writing that thinking oh people are gonna be really cracking up at this
Well, how
and
much
I
do you
was
think
sitting there like
Disney interferes as well, though? And then they
I
change the
don't know.
opening of certain episodes. It could be a mixture of the two,
Uh,
the suits that
I
potentially
think
could
we've been told many lies about how much some certain parties will have involvement and
yeah,
how
because
great things will be and
yeah, yeah.
yeah I just still feel like they hyped it up too much for it to just be a wet fart. I'm looking forward to seeing a Christmas special written by someone who isn't the showrunner. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I yeah. I've got one last question.
Go on.
What are your thoughts on Doctor Who having a midnight release now, as opposed to because it
Oh
does
God,
come
it's
out 7
awful.
p.m. on Saturdays, but the fact that you could just have the
Awful.
finale spoiled. I am mixed on it because I used to watch it after drama school before 7 o'clock, and it was there waiting for me. I did like that, but at the same time, I could wait until 7 o'clock and build up my hype. Like it's not
Yeah,
the be all end all. I
it's
think I think it's affected the ratings massively. If the idea is that it can just be seen before, and like I get the idea that you don't want America to have it first, so you give it to everyone at the same time, but it's a bit I don't get how we can't do it. Sorry, I said that really weirdly. I don't get why they can't do what they did with Matt Smith's era with BBC America, why they just didn't do that again. How did they manage to do it perfectly? Why can't they
I
do that again?
it really fucking pisses me off, right? It
Hmm.
really pisses me off that America gets it. I know
Yeah.
I
But
know
British
they're
TV,
not getting it before us, right? But they're getting it before us.
they are.
I know we're getting it at the same time, but people Russell, listen to this, right? Listen to this. People work late and people work long days and they don't want to stop until midnight. Release it at 7 p.m. or even 8 p.m. on a Saturday, and then you can release it in America at 4 p.m.
Listen,
or
listen.
3
The,
p.m.
the
Doesn't
UK
matter.
would get MCU films before America. You didn't hear backlash about that. Give it to
Yeah,
the UK first, and then America and the rest of the world. If you're not going to put Doctor Who on UK Disney Plus, then don't be doing like it at the same time as America. Like
it's stupid.
it's bizarre. I think it has affected the sort of essence of it
It
being the
has.
sort of Saturday night TV show that people
Like
are in
it
love
makes me
with.
I was actually thinking about this the other day about how like you would sit down, you'd see like the BBC bit before it and be like, oh, here we go. And like you'd in the advert, well, you wouldn't get adverts in Doctor Who, but like even in TV in general, it was just that excitement. And now I remember like I was trying to get my mum to stay up with me to watch it, and she was like, "Oh, I can't." I was like, "Oh, it's you just don't
Yeah.
get this feel anymore." And you have those kids that will text their mates the next day. We live in a different world to what we used to. They've
Yeah,
got such easy access. They'll just text, oh, Sue text back. Do you know what I mean? And it's just that
spoilers can come out
those
very easily
spoilers.
if you're
And I
not.
know it's easy for Russell to say, oh, stay off your phones until, and it's like, well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's some people's jobs who are reviewing your content to be on their phone
Yeah.
all day, who will get it
Even they
spoiled
have to.
before.
The BBC have to have videos of Doctor
Yes.
Who, of the finale, of
Yeah.
clips and stuff to generate like hype. And I get maybe it's a problem with society, but that's another podcast.
But
That's another
we
episode.
yeah, we it should not be midnight releases. First
Mm.
it went from fucking airing on Sunday to airing on Friday night at midnight. I know it's technically Saturday morning, but it's basically Friday night. Like it's
Mm.
so stupid. I don't get it, but anyway. I've been really negative this episode.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like we need to end it on a
I've
little bit of a high
yeah.
note. I mean,
The high
w-
note is that Deadpool and Wolverine was really good.
our review of it was shit, but it
Our
was a good
review
film.
was
It was
shit.
bloody awful.
But the thing is, and I know people have said that we're mainly me are very negative, but the issue is that if we're given negative stuff, we have to review it.
Yeah,
But
I
not
don't
everything
think
was bad. Not everything was bad. That's my
no.
that's my good thing.
I would not have, as Joe said, the new Sonic Screwdriver if I thought the show was bad. By the way, I've only got that to sell it down the line because it'll be worth
Is it really?
millions one day.
Well, I've got a 14th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver just sitting here, so I'll sell that one
Me-
day.
Yeah, yeah. So, it's
So our high note is that buy the merchandise for high sale reselling in the future.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
and don't spend £40 on two minifigures,
I
two
can't
two action
promise.
figures.
I can't promise that. I'm afraid. I've got a little collection on my desk of the Doctors. I need
Just wait
some
until they're at
diversity.
Forbidden Planet for ten
Will
pounds
they?
each
We don't live in a society where there's millions of Doctor Who toys anymore. It's
with
not like you
their.
get the 14 re-releases.
Oh my god! Can you
I
imagine a
hope to God.
TARDIS playset of the 15th Doctor's
Oh, well, you know what?
TARDIS? Fucking hell!
That would be good. I don't
It
think I have
would
lights
be.
and sound because it'd be
That was
embarrassing.
it. That was my first reason. Sorry,
Yeah.
it was that the TARDIS lands too quickly.
Oh God, that's such a big reason. Yes, and he barely bloody flies it.
It
He
goes
touches a couple of
boom, and it's
controls,
there.
and
It
like,
went from Jodie Whittaker going to Ryan. Oh, it's 5 minutes to Osaka, and now
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
instant. And it's like, what? No, have a bit of
God,
wobbling about. Have the camera tilt side to side, and then go woo.
that
That's it.
that console has no charisma in the sense of its
No,
actual controls. I
it's a
do love
kitchen.
the sort of space of it, but it's like it barely has any room for anything. It's got a coffee machine
You know
taking
what
up
it?
most of space.
Do you know what it looks like to me? It looks like a prototype of late Matt Smith, early Peter Capaldi TARDIS
Yeah, yeah,
before
yeah.
anything's been
And
added onto it. They
even
added a
yeah,
jukebox into it to add some flair that doesn't add anything.
well, it's expensive to use songs, so they do like one song a
Which is,
season.
do you know where their jukebox comes from?
Um, Rose.
It's Lady Cassandra's one.
Yeah, which is in Rose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I like that little callback. But I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like I am not being fooled by watching Shooty run around hitting a couple of buttons, which there is no
No,
continuity in what he does in every episode.
no.
I screen recorded him in the Devil's Cord when he's like ripping stuff out of the TARDIS. That was cool. That was dynamic. That was
Yeah,
exciting. But then he just taps his hands down
yeah.
on the console. He's not hitting any buttons. I was
No.
like, mate, Matt Smith in if you watch Series 5, Episode 1 Confidential, the product designer of Doctor Who gives him a spreadsheet
Yeah.
of what every single sort of element of the console
Does.
does.
Yeah.
Diagnostics to land in,
There's
even
none
watching
of that
Time of the
anymore.
Angels with the opening and having River and the Doctor like flying the TARDIS like that.
Yeah.
Even the As flying the
Yeah.
TARDIS was more exciting than this season. And the
Yeah.
TARDIS is the third character of this show. And if you can't do it properly,
And one
then
of the main things in the fucking arc of this series.
yeah, exactly. And it was like I did love that Sutek changed the design of it because I always love when the TARDIS becomes like evil, has the design. But even then, it wasn't as exciting as the Paradox Machine, and it did nothing.
No.
Did absolutely
Here's
nothing.
here's my and this is what I'm going to end on. Right? Here's my guarantee: if the TARDIS lands, even in the Christmas special, if the TARDIS lands so quickly like it did in season one, series 14, whatever,
Yeah.
in the Christmas special, if it lands really quickly, I'm going to post on our Instagram story, forget this show or something. I'm going to post something, or I'm just going to post a picture of my upset face and maybe not ever watch it again, which is a lie.
Joe will materialize out of existence,
I
which is what
will.
it means.
I'm going to,
Really quickly. It'll just be like
yeah,
transfer.
literally, I will, as you're watching the show, and this will be live as the show goes on, I will appear in the show to promote this podcast and to end it. Not our
Wow.
podcast, the show.
Yeah. Well, we won't
But
have anything to talk about at the end of the show.
no, yeah, yeah. We
What
literally will have nothing
well,
left.
yeah, we will have nothing left, and that was a
Uh,
perfect segue into the end of this
yeah.
very interesting episode.
Yes, it was, you know, it was a strange start to a new era of Doctor Who, which shouldn't be a new era. It just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's the same era that we've been having. Uh, season one is a weird place to start for, like, you know, to continue on from the Timeless Child, the Flux, and everything.
Yeah,
It shouldn't
yeah,
be series
yeah. It,
one.
it shouldn't it should have been a clean slate if they were going to do that. I mean,
No,
just
series
do.
one of a show doesn't continue, from a different show. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Uh,
You know what? Maybe Russell will acknowledge Doctor Who the Flux with that little fob watch about the Doctors before Hartnell
it's in
and
there
the Timeless
somewhere.
Child, and somehow bring together all the mess that was made about Gallifrey, bring the Daleks back. We want the Daleks, we want the Cybermen, add in the Slovene, make the Silurian cool, and you know what?
Oh, the
Joe,
Silurians are coming back, aren't they?
yeah, yeah, Joe may not be crying Christmas Day
I might not
after the
be,
Christmas special.
but you'll know.
Uh,
You'll
if he
find
does,
out.
he'll post it. He'll post it on the story if
I
he
will,
does.
and I guarantee that I'm going to forget this. So
Yeah, I'm
in
gonna
in the
remind you. Don't
midst
worry.
in the
I
midst
will
of
remind
Christmas
you.
Day, Akash will have to message me out of his Christmas Day.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll message each other anyway, but to remind me to post a picture of me crying at Doctor Who
and then
if the
materializing
TARDIS
out.
lands too quickly.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that'll be
anyway, I right up.
funny. Right. Well, we'll catch you at some point. We'll see.
Don't know
We'll see.
when.
We won't make any
January probably
promises.
after the
Yeah,
Christmas
yeah,
special.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm just
Um,
trying to think of what's next. There's nothing really coming up.
well, listen. We never know what's around the corner.
True. It's very
Just got
true.
to live in the moment.
It's true, but
I'll leave you with
no,
that philosophical quote
it's very,
at the end of the
very
episode.
deep.
We are waffling massively.
It
Take care,
is.
guys, and we will see you around. Thank you so much for listening.
I've got nothing
Me neither.
left.